the business has sort of been through a number of different evolutions, I think, over the years. It's kind of shown that it is very sort of adaptable to changes in the market, and probably none more so than in the last sort of 2 or 3 years, where we've moved into the world of assessment, and specifically endpoint assessment around apprenticeships. Within that sort of short space of time, it's grown to such a size that it's kind of now more than half of our business, and almost everybody within the team here at DSW is involved in that side of the business in sort of one way or another. So I think we're always kind of adding and evolving new services, but that I think that's a really kind of significant one for us, and in particular actually it's a really big part of our sort of future growth, that particular area. We've invested particularly again in the last sort of couple of years in technology to help us provide our clients with access to sort of real-time information on the projects that we're carrying out for them, all the assessments, technology to allow us to deliver assessment online or deliver training online, and technology to really kind of streamline our operations as well. Well, I'd say we've, particularly in the area of assessment, we've been absolutely at the forefront of that in recent years. And team, massive difference in the team here at DSW. We've seen a number of people kind of retire, so sort of long-serving members of the team leave over the last couple of years, and in fact 75% of DSW's team at the moment has been with us for less than 3 years. So it has quite a different feel to it, I suspect, than it did sort of 3 or 4 years ago. One thing that hasn't changed is our client focus. So I think Patrick would probably say, we've always absolutely focused on doing the right thing for clients, and kind of let everything else follow, really. And that sort of is something that we're absolutely kind of wed to, really. It goes back to what I said earlier about wanting to join a business that was focused on its clients, and we absolutely are. And we've recently had the results back of our client satisfaction survey, and we've got a fantastic net promoter score of 82%, which we're just absolutely over the moon about.
So the company, one of the real strengths of DSW, I think, is our agility and our ability to adapt both to the sort of immediate needs of our clients and customers, but then also kind of forward thinking and forward planning as to what's the next big thing and how can we position ourselves so we're ready for that. So from a purely kind of apprenticeships endpoint assessment point of view, which is obviously the side of the business that I head up, I think we've been really good at that. So we've adapted really by having a genuine desire to not only do the right thing, but then also to continually improve. And one of the things that we're really good at as an organisation, and a lot of the good feedback that we get from our clients, is our collaborative approach towards working. So we don't sort of sit in an ivory tower and say, well, we know best and we do it like this and it's my way or the highway. It's very much sort of an iterative, supportive, nurtured environment. So we'll have regular meetings with our clients, and I think we're really good as well at speaking frankly and openly, and it's a two-way conversation. So I think in terms of adapting to what's still a relatively kind of new landscape, and we're starting to see some numbers now with endpoint assessment, but relatively speaking it's in its infancy. So I think that communication is really critical. So if you are to adapt as an organisation and adapt to these changes and grow, you can't just do that on your own, you have to do it in collaboration with your customers. So I think we've been really, really good at that. I think we've also approached everything that we do with a degree of pragmatism, because with apprenticeships in particular, we have these fairly young assessment plans that have been designed by trailblazers and employers, which are great on paper, but then in terms of the actual delivery, you run into kind of obstacles that nobody anticipated. And again, it's that real collaborative approach of being open and honest with customers, having that two-way conversation, finding out what they like about what you do, so doing more of it, but also what are the challenges, what could we be doing differently. And we've really evolved over the last couple of years in terms of that, and it has very much been a kind of a two-way journey with us and our clients. And lastly, I think we've adapted more laterally in terms of our capacity, capability and willingness to grow and to grow sustainably. So I'm very passionate about what I do and what our business does, and I think we're very, very good at it. So really what we want to do is reach out to more people so that we all can benefit from that approach. And I think that sustainable growth is really important. So us as a business, it's important not to grow too quickly, because that presents its own kind of suite of issues. But also from the customer's point of view, it's really important that we grow sustainably as well, just so that we have some stability and we aren't constantly moving the goalposts. So I think that we've adapted in terms of the wider environment, but also with a mind on us as an organisation and how we manage that sustainable growth, which I think we're doing a really good job of, to be honest.
I think the culture is quite unique. So on the one hand, the business is it's 21 years old, so we've been around for quite a long time now. We come from a sort of a regulated industry background, so we have despite the fact we're quite a small business, we have a lot of things in place which you sort of ordinarily might only expect to see in a sort of a very large company. We're very sort of process and policy focused. Yet at the same time, because we've had this kind of evolution in terms of the services that we're offering, we've had massive change in the team that we've got here. We've brought some amazing people into the team in the last few years, and actually we've really expanded our client base as well over the last sort of 2 or 3 years. Sometimes it feels a bit like a startup. There's a lot of energy about the business. We have a great team that work really, really hard, but we also find some time to have a bit of a laugh and a giggle, and we pretty much do that every day, I would say. So it's a pretty nice place to come and work.
I think a lot of organisations kind of strive to have a particular culture, but it's a very difficult thing to achieve, and it's more than just having kind of values written on a wall somewhere. It really is about living those values and developing and nurturing culture for everybody involved in the business, and DSW is absolutely excellent at that. So we nurture colleagues, everybody's treated with respect. It isn't really a hierarchical environment here. Anybody within the organisation can have an idea or a suggestion, and it will be listened to, and it will be discussed and it will be taken on board. And quite often some of our best ideas will come from people throughout the business, no matter what role they carry out. So I think that inclusivity is really important to help us to grow and to get better. Everyone's treated with equality and respect. And again, it's not that hierarchical structure. I can play pranks on Dave, my boss, and we'll have a laugh about it. And that's the other thing, is it's a genuinely fun place to work, but at the same time it is professional. So you can have a laugh and a giggle and things like that, provided you crack on and do your job, and we're all very good at that. I think another really important thing about the culture is that you can make mistakes and not kind of have to hide them, which I think is true in a lot of organisations. We embrace the fact that what we're doing is a fairly new thing, and I think the worst thing that an organisation can do is to create, either intentionally or otherwise, a culture where people are afraid to make mistakes, try to hide the mistakes, because they'll never grow and learn as an individual, and you won't grow and learn as a business as well. So I think that willingness to kind of allow people to kind of make mistakes and learn from them, and kind of share best practice with your colleagues and your customers is really important. And culturally as well, I think we have a culture of openness and frankness, which extends externally as well as internally. So kind of we can have very honest conversations with one another around the way that we work and things like that. But we also do that with our clients as well, and we encourage them to tell us genuinely what they think, where the pain points are, where the obstacles are, but also what they think that we're good at. And I think that openness and that honesty allows for those honest conversations that bring genuine change.